How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Chris. How you doing this beautiful morning?
Yeah, beautiful winter morning that is.
Absolutely. Can't complain.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining me here today. And to all of our viewers, this is an introduction to Vic Pipke, Financial Warriors, and an introduction to the community of West Edmonton and Parkland County. So, as you know, we love to sponsor the community events and support all the local businesses. And so, this is, of course, one of our first professional interviews here with Vic. And I just wanted to introduce you to everybody, Vic, and get to know a little bit about your business and what you do for the community.
Sounds great. Thank you for the opportunity, Chris.
Fantastic. So I know you and I have lots of history here, but why don't we start with the basics here? Describe your business.
Yeah, so we're a full service independent financial services brokerage. So full service means we can do just about anything that touches a person's financial life. So investments, insurance, mortgages, home and auto, health and dental, corporate strategies, business strategies, tax strategies, you name it. If it touches a person's financial life, we probably do it. I like to call us the Amazon of the financial world. We got everything under one roof for you. But we're also completely independent, and this is really important. See, because being independent means we don't own any of our own products. Therefore, we have no bias to any corporation or shareholder, and nobody tries to control what we do, which means we can really advocate for the people that we serve.
That's a really interesting way to put it, Vic, because I know in the real estate world, we all think of banks and we think of mortgage brokers. And what you just described in the financial world is what most people understand to be a mortgage broker, where they're not an allegiance to one bank individually, but in fact, they shop around all the different banks. And then they pick the one that's most suitable for me, the client. And then I get to choose which one I'm most comfortable with. Does that sound about right?
Bang on. Bang on. You bet.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit more about what made you decide to get into this business and to run your own business in the financial world.
Yeah, that's a really long story, but I'll kind of give you the Coles Notes version because my background actually has nothing to do with money and finance. My background is in policing. I'm actually a retired Edmonton Police Service member, 21 years. Only job I ever wanted to do. Wanted to catch bad guys since I was a little boy. And I was very fortunate for 12 of those years. I was with the tactical team, or better known as the SWAT team. So really, I got paid to act like a 5-year-old every day. I got to legally break things. They paid me to blow stuff up and rappel down buildings, pretend I was Spider-Man. And you know what? It was a great career, but then I suffered a really devastating injury. And it was an injury that all the medical professionals that consulted over it said there's no medical reason we can find how you survived this injury.
Wow.
I was very blessed to survive that injury, but it took me out of that role that I was passionate about, a role that I felt like I was actually able to make a significant impact in people's lives. Right. So I started looking for something else. And, you know, just as kind of luck, fate, karma, whatever you want to call it, at that time I sat down with my financial person to go over my plan. And I told him about the struggles I was having. And he said, you know what, why don't you look at the financial industry? And I said, you know what? All I know how to do is blow stuff up. So I don't think I have too many transferable skills. And so we kind of chuckled a little bit. But, you know, he said, Vic, you know what? The biggest asset you can bring into this industry is morals, ethics, and integrity. And that you have. We can teach you the industry.
Yeah.
So still not understanding what I would bring to this industry, I decided I would think about it. And when I started to really think about what I had, what qualities I brought from my policing career, I started thinking about all the things I had done over 21 years. And I realized my aha moment was when I realized the foundation of almost all crime and social disorder comes down to money trouble.
Right. Wow, so that's a really interesting connection there too.
Yeah. So I realized I was really showing up late to the party, right? I wasn't addressing the cause that was resulting in the crime and social disorder that I was responding to for 21 years. Wow. And now by helping people with their money and their finances, I was able to actually make a more significant impact because I was going to be addressing the root cause. And so being a police officer, though, I'm super skeptical, right? We all are, right? Police officers probably more than anyone else because people lie to us. So I figured if I'm going to make this career change, I'm going to investigate it. And a couple of the things that, you know, I found when I was investigating in this industry, and I took about 2 years to take a deep dive into it, was that the traditional industry had broken down, right? The big companies have bought the small companies, and they're typically only focusing on the high net worth people, which means there's a whole bunch of people being left behind. And so I wanted to look at, you know, a little bit about that industry and learn a little bit more by talking to people. And when I talked to people who worked in the industry, they said, you know what, 2 typical concerns they have is, number one, they're limited to their company's products and services.
Yeah.
And number two, they realize after they've been in the industry for a while that their job is to maximize profits for shareholders, not necessarily always help the people that are walking through the door.
Right.
That's why I went by the route of an independent broker, so that I didn't have somebody controlling me. Right, my paycheck wasn't dependent on whether I make a shareholder happy. Right, I was actually going to get rewarded for helping other people. And then the way I choose to do my business, it's not about sales. I don't go out to sell people anything. The foundation of what I do is educational. I want to empower people with the intelligible and trusted and complete information to make sound financial decisions for themselves and empower them to do that. And then use connections with the financial services that I have access to. I have access to over 70 companies and 250 products. Use special connections to help people get access to the things they need to achieve their goals, things that they probably typically wouldn't get access to because they're not a very wealthy person.
Right. And there was a little bit of a feed issue there, Vic. So I'll just recap a little bit here. So in what you're saying here, it's really interesting. You and I have met. We've talked about my business. We've talked about my clients and how we can help. And I think the two things that really stand out is your interest in just saying, how can I help you succeed with your future goals? Not how can I take your money and figure out how we can make, money off of you. So I think your integrity and your approach there is just bang on exactly what you described. And the idea that you're able to help people when the time is right for them. Meeting people, kind of akin to like what we do in real estate here. If you need us now, great. If you need us later, that's fine too. No pressure, no feeling like you need to work with us now, that anti-competitive sales approach almost. It's not about sales, it's about encouraging people to understand. And the one thing that I really, really want to applaud you that really does come through in your intro there is I feel like all the times that we've met in discussing your services, your approach has been very much, Chris, when you're ready, and if you have the ability to kind of improve your future, let's have a chat. You've given me strategies, but if the strategies weren't at that moment available to me, I really felt like you were saying, that's okay when the time comes. And I think that's really a strong business owner and community developing strategy and attitude. And I do see that how that can come from your policing in the background. That's dealing with people, unbelievable. But hey, stress. If there's anybody I would want to know that can handle stress, maybe a guy from the SWAT team could do that.
Well, I would hope I had built a little bit of resilience there at some point, for sure.
Totally. So let's move on to just another quick little tidbit here for our viewers. And you've answered a lot of these things, but I would say, what continues to drive you to work with people now in this industry, now that you've uncovered this realization of what you can do?
Yeah. You know what? I think there's two answers to that from kind of a selfish standpoint. The thing that drives me, my drug of choice, is when I'm sitting across the table from a family. And when you first walk into that family's home, it's like you can feel the stress on their shoulders. And, maybe, the couple are arguing, maybe they're yelling at their kids, maybe there's some alcohol or drugs involved, right? And when you sit down and you really delve to the bottom of that, you find out that the biggest reason they're so stressed out, and it's a stress that 95% of Canadians have, is they're just financially under constant strain. Right. And it causes that constant stress, causes them to act out of character. And so when you sit down with them, and because they're not high net worth, nobody's spending time to educate them and empower them. And you actually take the time to show them that they're worth it. You give them the opportunity to actually take that information and put it into action without having to have 6 figures in your bank account.
Right.
You see the stress start to come over them. And I like to say, listen, I don't have any products, so I have nothing to sell, but there's one thing I sell. I sell hope. Right? That's
great. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Vic, is in the financial world, and we've all experienced this, there is you don't have enough money for me to really work with you. And there is a lot of people being left behind. And I think that is one of the things that our society actually is very clear with. Those who are wealthy and raised in wealthy families have a leg up. This is a perfect example. When there's no one to teach the average person and the person who just works hard every day but doesn't have a lot of extra money to maybe learn some new strategies, but not learn all of them, but learn one or two that might be improve their life. That's a really valuable service to see that is something that you're focusing on, because that's a really big deal, I think, in our society, as well as people being left behind.
100%, right. Like it's like what I tell people, listen, I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to show you how to more efficiently use it to your advantage, instead of the financial industry using you for your money.
100%. Well, it's fantastic, Vic. Well, I know we could talk for hours upon hours, but I will appreciate and just do a quick summary. So Vic Pipke, Financial Warriors. We'll be sure to put the information in the link below to reach out to you. But if you want to just shout out your number, maybe for people to be able to reach you, and then
sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, anytime you need advice or even just someone to talk to, 780-913-2852. If I'm busy, leave me a message. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can, because my job is to help you get to your goals.
Fantastic. And of course, you can always reach out to us, Chris Miller, your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We'd be happy to put you in touch with Vic. And thanks for joining us today.
Great. My pleasure. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Excellent. Have a great day, everyone. And thanks for joining us.
See you later.